eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on?
No matter how far you go into the dark, when you flip, you go exactly the same place to the light in our galaxy. Everything. Because everything is in balance. Everything is a polarity.
I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Polarity. My name is Suki, and today we're going to be talking about if the postman is actually real or not, and what kind of chemicals are they putting in the dog food. No, I'm just kidding. What's going on, everyone? How are we all? I hope we've all had a good weekend so far. Happy Sunday. Suki definitely does want to know if the postman is real or not. She's been at the door barking and wondering for hours, actually. It's definitely far more important to her than UFOs and aliens, but you know, we've all got our own interests, so we have to respect that. But today's show, what have we got today? Am I a little bit underprepared for today? Yes. Do I still have some exciting things to look at today? Yes. Can I remember what they are? No. Are we still going to have a lot of fun? Yes. No, we have. Okay, so first of all, let's actually kick off with, well, we're going to talk about the age of disclosure. We're going to talk about, obviously, what's on the thumbnail, which is Three-Eye Atlas and the whole thing about that. And also, we've sort of touched on this before, but I want to go a little bit deeper on it because I feel like some people are maybe missing the point with this whole, like, paper saying that there's a fleet of UFOs above the Earth in the 50s and the Sphere Network and what's going on and basically all of that. So we've got a bit to get into today, but given that it's Sunday, I want to have a bit of an interactive stream. So I'm really interested to hear what you guys are thinking and how you're feeling about what's going on. And we're going to give Suki some treats today. I've decided it's going to be a weekend only thing. And it's the weekend. So she's going to get fed. So whenever you guys chuck in a super chat, I will say though, they have to be at least yellow super chats. And this is just a health conscious thing. They have to be yellow super chats or higher, yellow, orange, or red. I think they are. And then we can feed the dog. But today we're going to have fun. So I hope you guys are excited for a fun show. Let's put this over here, first of all. And then let's jump over to the Polarity TV. Let the chat catch up for a moment because I actually can't see it. Like I said, a little bit underprepared, but it's okay. It's okay because I'll catch up and we'll be rolling soon. Suki's up for it. Suki is so cute. She is the cutest. She really is the cutest. You know what? You know what, Suki? Just have one. Just have one. You're too damn cute. You are too damn cute. She is the perfect size for me to cuddle. It's just crazy. She fits just like perfectly. It's just too good. All right, let's talk about this. So you guys know the Age of Disclosure, that documentary. Suki's gonna be chonky in a few weeks if we ain't careful. Don't worry, bro. She gets walked every day. And she doesn't have treats any other day except for when we do these live streams. So don't worry. Suki's in good hands. When is Suki getting her own channel? Look, I can leave if you guys want. Do you want me to leave? Would everyone just be happy if this is just the stream for the next 2 hours? Because we can do that. We can do that. Okay, so the Age of Disclosure. This is obviously like the weirdest thing in ufology. This documentary that apparently has the entire collection of all the people who come from all of the sus places in UFO world, whether it's like the government or the military or like these weird like fringe scientists part of the Invisible College, right? They all got together to do a documentary with Dan Farah, who is already like a producer in his own right. I think he did Ready Player One and some other things. And he basically rounded them up, from what I understand, under the pretense of like, okay, You guys all want to say some shit, but you're all too scared to kind of come out and say it by yourself. How about I'll get all of you together, and that way, like, you know, when you say something, you've got your little spooky friends here to back it up. Like, that's the premise of the show, right? This movie was filmed a long time ago, and it premiered, meaning, like, you know, it had been finished editing and the music and everything, all the pieces have been in place for this movie for probably almost a year now. And it premiered at South by Southwest this year, which I think was in like March, maybe even February. And it's August, and nobody knows when it's coming out yet. Now, apparently we've been told that they're just trying to find a distributor. Which, you know, when they say that, it kind of sounds like nobody wants to show our UFO movie. We just can't find a distributor. When, like, that's just so not true. That is just so not true. The UFO topic is got to be like one of the hottest topics right now. Okay. People want to see this documentary. I mean, look, there's plenty of alien documentaries on Netflix and on Stan and all these distributors, right? There's definitely not, it's not like no one wants to show it. I don't know if it's money. I don't know if they're trying to find the highest bidder. That's a little bit, you know, it's a little bit negative to assume that. It could be, though. It definitely could be. Or there's something weird going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. This came out today. I just saw this. Red Panda posted this. And I'll just read it out to you. So this is from someone called Michael A. Temporal. Okay, I don't know who this person is, but they're saying Lou Elizondo, represented by his lawyer, Ivan Hanel, has filed a lawsuit in California against Dan Farah. I don't know how to say that name. Wyfat Reese. That's definitely not it, but, you know, Wyfat Reese Gendel, alleging that Dan Farah operated as an unregistered talent agent in violation of the California Talent Agencies Act. Now, this is already very strange, because do you guys remember earlier in the year, Ross Coulthart said this, and this wasn't really like public knowledge before Ross said it, I don't believe, but Lou Elizondo is the executive producer. Lou Elizondo is in the credits as the executive producer of this documentary, which is like a whole other like level of conspiracy in its own right. But what we're seeing here is Lou Elizondo, the executive producer, has filed a lawsuit against the producer, alleging that he has operated as an unregistered talent agent. Like, what is that about, bro? Like, these guys just can't do anything. You can't get him into a skiff. They can't tell you in a public setting. They make a documentary, but they can't release it because they end up suing each other. Like, these guys suck ass. And I've only read one of the 3 tweets. The next one. The complaint arises from Farah's involvement through Farah Films and Management, as well as Why Are You Fat Reese's Gendel's role at YRG Partners in literary and media, in brokering Elizondo's imminent book deal. So, like, why does the book have something to do with this? And appears to be an attempt to force renegotiation of the existing terms. So this is like become some kind of weird bureaucracy, like weird like legal battle between the people who made it. Mick says, wasn't Dan Lou's social media dude hosting his YouTube channel or someone else? I'm not sure. I don't know that. I've never heard that one, but maybe. Heidi says, I found myself involuntarily shaking my head when reading these tweets. The circus continues. Literally a circus. And the last one says, sorta, it's Lou's fault the production is delayed, but not why you think. Don't forget, Lou can't lie because he has a security clearance. You know, I've heard things that, like, you know, some of these spooky dudes that are in spooky places, actually, it's like in their clause where like if you happen to be in front of Congress or if you happen to be questioned by someone in like a legal capacity, you have an obligation to lie because this is so top secret that like it's above Congress. Because remember, this shit operates beyond Congress. Congress and below, which is us, are like plebs. We are the lower ring. We are the lower ring compared to the breakaway civilization that are flying Tic Tacs and 5-mile-long cigar-shaped motherships around. We are the plebs. I know, right, Mike? Spooky dudes being spooks. Who would have thought? Who would have thought it? The dude asking audience questions on his YouTube at the start of the year when he was appearing a bit regular. Oh, you know, I don't know if I saw that. I don't know if I saw that. Platinum says, hi, Josh. Hello, sir or ma'am. How are you? Thank you for being here. Age of non-disclosure. It's certainly seeming like that. It's certainly seeming like that right now. You cannot be an ex or former CIA. Once in the agency, you're always an asset. Monkey sausage. I think that's a great point. You hear that a lot. Once CIA, always CIA. And I think, you know, I'm sure people do get out. But I think that's just a great rule of thumb. Because it's like, once you're CIA, I can't trust you, bro. Can't trust you. Doesn't mean you are negative or doing anything bad, but it's like, I owe it to myself to not trust you. Like I'm insulting my own intelligence by just believing what you say without trying to think about it for myself first. So therefore, the safest thing to do is to just not believe you. It's like the boy who cried wolf. If you're involved in the CIA, why would I believe you? Anything you say. You know, like I even wonder, I think I might have mentioned this the other day with the Gateway tapes. You know, like I said, the CIA talk a lot of shit. You don't know what's true, what's not. You know, and like John Ramirez just casually being like, yeah, and I saw a Reptilian and I punched him. I just punched the Reptilian. And it was really annoying how he woke me up that night. It's like, bro, you don't talk about that stuff like that. You are so nonchalant, it just gives liar vibes. Like, and I don't like saying that because I've always liked watching and listening to John Ramirez, and I do think he comes out with some interesting things. But when you just sit there and go, yeah, saw a Reptilian, gave him a left right hook to little hook to the chin, bastard woke me up. Anyway, yeah, punched him and went back to bed. It's like, did you though? Did you really, bro? Because if that happened to me, I wouldn't be saying it like that at all. And obviously we're all different, of course. But there are things that like just don't really jive. You know what I'm saying? Stevie says bye-bye credibility with $3. Thank you, Stevie. And yeah, a few of these guys are absolutely down the gurgler for sure. D with a tenner. Thank you, my man. He says, me has consulted Detreat Council via telepathy. Verdict, I can has more. Where is compliance? Well, you can't argue with that. Suki, you've been contacted telepathically. Come on. This one is from D. Here you are. Good girl. And Jesus Christ is king with $8. Ask with an open heart for him to show himself to you and see if anything happens. Jesus loves you all, and I love Polarity. And I love Jesus Christ is king. Thank you, my man. Appreciate that support. John drank too much milk before going to bed. Look, I think he's certainly having some kind of nightmares, one way or another. There's no doubt about that. Who knows what they are and what reality, but there's something not right. Sometimes you can smell fake miles away. Yes, I think you're right, Jessica. It's an intuition thing, right? And I don't want to be like I'm sitting here calling John Ramirez a liar because I don't know. But I think we are well within our right to say, hey, the way that you just nonchalantly talk about punching a reptilian in the head is kind of strange, dude. We're well within our rights to say that. But again, you know, this is the whole thing. It's like we also can't talk in absolutes because we don't know. We don't know. This could be something happening in like a different, like astral dimension. We really don't know, but we are well within our right to say something feels off here. Because we're literally talking about reptilians. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with saying that. Josh, I'll give you a tenner if you eat one of those treats. I was going to say, like, you know, maybe add another 0, but also, like, I'm not, yeah, nah. That's just kind of cringe. To do weird shit on stream for money. Nah. It's funny. Like, I would like to be in your position. I would 100% like to watch someone eat a dog treat for money on stream. That would be funny, but I don't want to be that guy. That's just not me. I want to be the guy watching and laughing. It may be dementia. What do you mean by that, Trev? Ramirez, the fearless. Ramirez, conqueror of lizards. Him and David Icke should collab. I went and checked. It was a guy called Mark. Dan was just involved with the movie yet to be released. Yeah, I don't think so. That there was an involvement there, but they obviously are connected somehow. Presentation is everything. Our perception of credibility is deeply destroyed by 100 years of skepticism, ridicule, and misinformation. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you're very right. I don't know what you mean by like presentation is everything. But like our perception of credibility is cooked. And, you know, Jake Barber gets questioned a lot. And again, right, like these people are totally like rightly so to be questioned. And some of them might be telling the truth. And that's okay. I think you can still, like, when there are answers that have not been answered, questions that are unanswered from these vague people coming from spooky places, it's okay to question them. It doesn't mean you're attacking them or disbelieving them. But I will say one thing that Jake Barber said that I just think is so on point is that, you know, everyone's trying to like work this shit out through their framework, and their framework is built on like, you know, probably a society based on a lot of lies. And he said that everyone's framework that they're trying to look at this through is just fucked. They were his words. Your framework is fucked. And I like that. I respect that, and I resonate with that. Our framework is fucked. James Anthony with $5. I also stole an alien device, and the men in black aren't getting it back. Is that one of those neuralizers? You remember Danny Jones saying that Chris Bledsoe told him off air that the CIA literally have and use neuralizers? I don't know if he said neuralizer, but he said, I'm pretty sure the way Chris explained it to Danny was like one of those men in black things that like flash you and you lose your memory, which is a neuralizer. Bro, Men in Black's a documentary, I'm telling you. Three-Eye Atlas is not aliens? Oh, brother. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. I was at the gym this morning, literally just like between sets, opened up my phone. The first thing I saw was from Red Panda saying, he wasn't saying anything. He was just posting the 3-Eye Atlas story. And I just reposted it and I said, this is literally like the gayest Psy-Op of all time. Like, it's so, like, what even is this? And then I finished up at the gym and that tweet, like, low-key sort of blew up. Got a few, like, 1,000, what are they called? Impressions or whatever. So that resonated with a lot of people, apparently, that is a gay Psy-Op. Because it is. Because it's like, I mean, I'm not saying the big space rock is a Psy-Op. There probably is something strange, like a Muamua, probably. But like, whoa, how did we jump to, hey, there's an enormous rock literally millions and millions and millions and millions of miles away? How did we get from that to hostile aliens? Like, what? You know, I understand. We're actually going to be looking at a clip from Avi Loeb today. No, he's not asking for money. He's not asking for money. Relax. I mean, he might be. He might be. I haven't watched the whole clip. He wasn't at the start. And, you know, he's saying, you know, there are some interesting things, the way this thing has entered our solar system. You know, there are some interesting things about it for sure. And that's cool. But, you know, hostile alien mothership heading to Earth. Let's just chill out, I think, guys. Let's just relax. It's very likely going to be okay. We've existed here for a long time, and as far as we know, and you know, there's probably a lot that we aren't told about, but as far as we know, a giant alien mothership has never came to Earth with hostile aliens. And if there is, John Ramirez will get out and punch them in the face, because that's what he casually does. So I'm not worried. I wonder if Avi Loeb watched the videos from the Angry Astronaut. I'm going to say no, because to me, Avi Loeb doesn't give me like YouTube guy energy. I don't think Avi Loeb's a YouTuber, like a YouTube consumer. Can't have peace-loving aliens, can we now? Exactly. Like, you know, it's interesting. It's like hostile aliens. Why isn't the story enormous mothership of all loving, beautiful entities coming to rescue us from the vampire Khazarians? Why wasn't that the story? The Nephilim are returning to pick us up and rescue us from the vampires. Why wasn't that the story? Heroic special operative aliens coming in to intervene in the spiritual war on Earth and kill the Khazarian vampires. Why wasn't that the story? Special operative insectoids coming to rescue children from the Baal-worshipping freaks that run society. Why wasn't that the headline? I made it to a live finally. Strings, welcome. Thank you for being here. Because there's no truth either way, 3i Atlas will just cruise on by. I think you're right, dude. This rock is just going to float by and everyone's going to go, oh, it was just like every other time. Hey, I could be wrong. You know, I'm always open to being wrong too. In fact, I'm not going to say I encourage myself to be wrong, because that would be stupid. I don't say things to be wrong on purpose. But when I welcome it, because that's how we learn. Those goddamn Khazarians. They're in everything. They're in everything. Because then the people would be partying and parties are not allowed. No, parties are not allowed. Make sure everyone stays 1.5 meters away from each other and stay in your home. Do you know there's still people out there getting COVID boosters? For real. There's people out there on like their 10th, 11th jab. It's crazy. And like those people usually like still get COVID. It's like, bro, why are you doing that? Why do you keep injecting yourself with COVID and then you keep getting COVID? Anyway. How are they not dead? Good question. They're on their 10th or 11th chip. Yeah, the nanotech is strong in them. Sheep will do sheep things. Yeah, the sheep be sheeping. That is for sure. Josh, what if it is a spaceship? I mean, there's talk of 2027 and also 2026, like Chris Bledsoe said, for instance. Brandon, yeah, it's an interesting point. And again, I'm open to it. It could be. Like, that's the thing. I am open to it being that. But it's like we are so far away from like even knowing that. We haven't sent a probe out. It's been suggested, but you know, we have no idea. We're literally just being hysteric apes. We're literally like, this is when it's like, oh no, there might be a pandemic. Woolworths runs out of toilet paper. Coles runs out of toilet paper. People are selling toilet paper $10 a roll on Facebook Marketplace. Like, this is the same hysteria. Oh, look, there's a giant rock in space 50,000 million hundred light years away. Hostile aliens, get the toilet paper. Like, it's the same shit. People are just freaking out. How come you never mentioned Donald Marshall in your Baal cult video? Craig Elliott, I don't know who Donald Marshall is. That's why. Suki's happy. Suki's always happy. Actually, speaking of Suki being happy, Monkey Sausage says, so when we finally see the alien ships en masse and the world is in shock, the UFO community will switch from We Told You So to its Project Bluebeam and a Psy-Op. And as promised, the yellow super chats get a Suki treat. And it's like, look at her. Look at this. Look at... She heard the rapper. And she's like, wait a second. What do we got here? We got a little something coming. We got a little something. Come on. Good girl. Once she hears that rapper, def worth checking into Donald Marshall. I will have to. And, you know, I get a lot of comments like that. You know, like I'll cover something and be like, you know, people say like, I enjoyed this video, but can't believe you didn't cover this. It's like, bro, if I covered everything that everyone wanted me to cover, the video would be 4 hours long. And, you know, I would just be in a never-ending cycle of trying to find the next thing that someone else wants me to cover to add into the video. Like, at some point, I have to cut the video and edit it and post it. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, also, the cool thing is, when we get into topics like this, and... you know, because you guys know, like, I'm researching this stuff basically in real time. You know, I have a pretty good, like, knowledge set on the UFO topic. But when it comes to Baal worshipping vampire freaks and just all this other shit, I'm, like, digging into this with you guys in real time. And a lot of the UFO stuff, too. I'm working it out as I go. So, yeah, you guys are watching me process this and work it out and research it in real time. And when we find cool stuff or interesting stuff, it gives us opportunities to make another video, like the person that you mentioned who I've already forgotten the name of. Yep. That's why I always interrupt videos, because I have the memory of a goldfish. I have the memory of a goldfish short term, but like, dude, I will remember like the randomest shit that someone said to me like 15 years ago that is like irrelevant. Donald Marshall. Thank you, James. Yeah, thank you. Ask me that name and someone randomly ask me the name in 20 minutes and test me if I remember it. Just test me. I want someone to try that. Okay? I'm going to try my best. Josh suffers from high ping. Yeah, Australia, we definitely have lag. We absolutely have lag here. But I would also say I'm like, you know, I'm dialing into different dimensions as well. I'm picking things up from here. I'm picking things up from here. Hey, Josh, did you adjust your Aquino brow? No, dude, I'm still growing a devil horn. It's fucking crazy. It's actually wild, man. Never go full Aquino. Never go full Aquino. All hail Suki, devourer of snacks, warden of chill. Thank you, Mr. Dutch. Here you are, Suki. This is from the Dutch Glaswegian. Come on, fight for it. Good girl. Let's go, Devil Aquino brow. No. I definitely don't want to have Michael Aquino eyebrows. That's not my intention. Put the horns up for Michael Aquino. No. I will get that fixed. I've, you know, between trying to solve the mysteries of the universe and getting my eyebrows fixed, I'm a busy man. Priorities. The horn may grow a little bit bigger soon, but it will get fixed. I promise you. Is this what happens? Is this like possession manifesting? Is this what happens when Baal enters your consciousness? You start getting devil eyebrows. If you haven't yet, you should check out the 2008 UFO footage from Turkey by Murat Yalcin. Is that... I think I've seen that. That's the I can't say this without laughing, and I've already laughed, so it doesn't matter. But it's like cum burgers. It's holy shit, Paris. That is what? Dude, are you serious? Did you put an extra zero on that by accident? That's crazy, Paris. Thank you. I hope you didn't put an extra 0 in that by accident. Okay, Paris Diamonds has just gifted 50 memberships to you guys in the chat. And guys, if you don't already know, you can't even receive a gifted membership unless you have it turned on. So make sure you click the 3 little dots so you can receive memberships. But Paris, you are an absolute legend. Like, the generosity from you and this community is like literally unmatched. You guys are the actual GOAT. And Paris, you're an absolute legend. Thank you so much. If you just got a membership from Paris, make sure you say thank you. I'm not going to read all 50 of your names out, but make sure you say thank you. And can we see some love for Paris and all of our new weirdos? Welcome, guys. Make sure you check out the all the members-only content and join our Discord because we have a members-only channel as well. Coffee. How do I buy you a coffee? Assuming you're talking to me, and the buy what's it called? It's called Buy Me a Coffee. There is a link below. That's just another way you can support the channel. It is generally better because YouTube take a hefty scoop of whatever you super chat. But obviously when you do it on YouTube, you know, it's more fun. You get your name read out, you get the badge, you know, it is a lot more fun. That's why we do it. Yeah, wow. Insane. You're an absolute legend, Paris. Thank you. Lots of love. I appreciate that. But yeah, back to cum burgers. That's how I refer to that UFO sighting. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm not talking about sorry, I need to be careful what I say. I'm talking about a UFO sighting that I believe is called I don't know how else to pronounce it. It sounds absolutely twisted, I know, but that's how it reads. Cum burgers. And it is a very interesting UFO sighting. In fact, actually, I reckon I can pull it up. I reckon I've got a copy of it. Give me a moment. Yeah, I'm just going to go into my files here and search for cum burgers. Oop, not that video. Not that cum burgers video. That one will get me kicked off YouTube. Okay, maybe I don't have it, unfortunately. I thought I did. $5 from Johnny Prosser, 001. The bums with repent signs are now charging for photos and podcast interviews. Well, I mean, they're probably starting to... I mean, is it just me? And it might be. It literally might be. But is it just me? Or, like, as it becomes, like, very apparent, and you guys can push back on me here if you want to, but as it becomes very apparent that, like, kind of seems like the world is a little hijacked by some sort of non-human / interdimensional intelligence that's just potentially been fucking with us for a long time, as people are starting to, like, clue onto that, kind of seems like the everyone's starting to be like, fuck, maybe I should go read the Bible for real. Is it just me, or is everyone, like, low-key right now a bit like, fuck, I better read that Bible, dude? I mean, I was speedrunning the Old Testament with Grok. For a video, and I wanted to just get some basic information out of it. And, like I said to you guys the other day, I'm the inverted Diana Pasulka, okay? Started believing in God because I researched UFOs, right? Now, I want to be clear. I'm not a religion. Well, yeah, no shit, I'm not a religion. I mean, some of you might say Polarity is a religion, and I'm okay with that because it would be a good one. But no, I'm not a religion. I don't align myself with a religion, and I don't think I ever will. But it has definitely, like, led me to the understanding that there is absolutely another dimension, and, you know, whatever that means. Okay, I'm not trying to talk about dimensions here like I fully know what I'm talking about, like any of us do. We're trying to, you know, we're referring to shit we don't quite understand, so let's be clear about that. But I think it's becoming, like, pretty clear that there is something kind of, like, beyond, outside of our perception that is definitely interacting with us. Probably for good and for bad, I think. I hope. Well, it has to be, right? Because that's polarity. If there's good, there is bad. There cannot be bad without good. Otherwise, it would just be bad. And that would be normal. But it isn't. It's not normal at all. Being a vampire and families that abuse their children is absolutely not normal. Which means there is good. I don't know how I started talking about this, but here we are. We're at church. We're at church polarity, and I'm preaching, baby. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Thank you, sir. Yeah, guys, if you're watching, if you're new to the channel, I know there's a lot of new people here at the moment. If you are watching, if you're enjoying it, make sure you are subscribed. Please like the stream as well. If you like while I'm live, it actually really helps. It does really help. Heidi says it's Sunday too. Yo, this is it. We're at church, baby. We are at church talking about how aliens have been manipulating humans for a long time. Probably all kinds. And aliens means, I think aliens can mean anything, really. Yeah, I really do think non-human intelligence is a way better word for it. Because alien, when I say the word alien, my immediate mental image is a grey. That's like my immediate mental image. And that's not what I really want people to think of when I say an alien, like it seems like aliens are fucking with humanity. I actually do think that this is actually more of like a non-physical, spiritual thing. But again, this is totally just my own interpretation. I'm not trying to tell you that. This is just my, and I'll say it's my current conclusion. Because like I said, I'm digging into this in real time with you guys and just, if you went back to like my earliest videos, there's no way I was talking like this. In my earliest videos, I was probably way more pro-alien. And I remember there was a specific video that I did, and I'm pretty sure it was the video my OG viewers will remember. For Christmas, Morning Moldy, nice to see you here, sir. Hello, Heather, nice to see you. My OG viewers will remember for Christmas, I wore the ugly Christmas sweater, and we put up the Christmas lights for the Christmas episode of Weird Week. And it was in that episode, I'm pretty sure, where I'm pretty sure I did like a deep dive into the skunk works, right? And we looked at all of the like experimental and like weird things that have come out of the skunk works. And I remember in that episode, I said something like, yo, UFOs are fucking Lockheed Martin. All of them. That was, no, I said like 90%. I think 90% of like modern UFO cases are, when I say Lockheed Martin, I obviously mean the military industrial complex as a whole, but Lockheed Martin's just an easy way to refer to these like, rogue contractors that just seem to do whatever the hell they want. Michael Herrera, during his interviews with Greer, was wearing a World Economic Forum badge. Really? That's weird, bro. He's also a Freemason. Like, that's kind of... well, no, I don't want to say that's weird, because I've known other people who've been Freemasons, and that doesn't, like, intrinsically mean you're some freaking crimson hood-wearing Baal worshipper. It doesn't mean that at all. But it is interesting. It's interesting. At the very least, it is interesting. But I've always said I like Michael Herrera. Actually, we probably should have talked about this. I don't have the tweet, but you guys probably saw that Michael Herrera was interviewed by Ross Coulthart this week. I was actually going to do a video on it, but I didn't. And fair play to Ross and Michael, because, I mean, the interview was really just Michael's story about what he saw in Sumatra, which is I've always said is one of the most interesting, and I think it is the most interesting testimony, period, because of what it means. But it was interesting because Ross was just like grilling him. Like, Michael would tell the story and Ross just kept rewinding him to get like the fine details out of the story. Like, for example, we all know that like Michael rolled up on this craft and these like dudes in black camo basically like, you know, held them hostage for like 10 minutes and threatened to kill him. But Ross kept like pulling him back and saying like, you know, could you identify them? What did they look like? What were their reactions like when they saw you? Like he was really probing for like good little details. So I actually thought that was a good interview. But basically straight after that interview, Michael Herrera tweeted saying, I will no longer be doing interviews or podcasts relating to the UFO topic because of my business ventures. And a few people asked him questions saying, are your business ventures related to UFOs? Like, what do you mean? And he kind of said, no, like it's nothing like that. It's just like literally, I need to focus on my businesses right now. And this is kind of distracting. Okay, that's the answer he gave. I commented on it and said, blink twice if you're in trouble. No, but that's kind of what I meant. I just said, did you have any interactions that made you feel that this was the best move for your safety? And he replied to me and kind of said, no, like basically just reiterated what he'd already said. Just like, no, this is just like what I need to focus on right now. Which obviously, if you had been threatened, that's what you would say. You're not going to come and be like, no, yes, the men in black just spawned in my room last night, threatened me, transformed into an 8-foot gray, and then neuralized me and left. He's not going to say that, right? So, you know, take it for what it is. Sure, people will speculate. They have been. But another one bites the dust, I guess you could say. Another one bites the dust. So I don't think we're going to be hearing about Michael Herrera anymore unless something changes. Which again is a shame because like his story I think is wild. Because it directly implicates America in operating UFOs and like not just UFOs, 300-foot ones that are trafficking people. Okay, and actually look, while we're here, we will move on to the next thing in a moment, but just while we're here, I sort of mentioned this the other day. If this whole like satanic ritual abuse thing is as widespread as it appears to be, and that, you know, the elites and like the Clintons who had leaked emails talking about like cooking in a roast chicken to sacrifice to Moloch, like that was in the email. Like, I'm sacrificing a roast chicken to Moloch. That was like from Hillary Clinton in the emails, okay? So if there is actually this upper elite in society that is doing this shit, and by the way, talk about cultural convergence, the next Sean Ryan episode that's coming out, I don't know, it might even already be out, but he put out the trailer like a day or two ago. It's all about this shit. I don't know who this guy is, but he's talking about Baal worship and Moloch and that this shit is real, right? That there is an elite group that like Epstein seems to be tied to, so is like potentially infiltrating science, Hollywood, politics, the UFO problem. That shit seems to be real. And like they talk about clone, like Juliette Bryant spoke about like cloning. They're using her to like clone babies and shit like that. Like if they actually do this ritual abuse shit to sacrifice people to this god or abuse them or whatever, it makes sense that they would print them. It's like when a big business sets itself up and it's like, okay, this business primarily runs on printer cartridges, for example. Do we go to another printer cartridge company and just spend shitloads of money over the next 30 years buying their printer cartridges? Or do we just set up our own side business that we make our own printer cartridges now? That's what I think is potentially going on. And this is like so wild to be saying, obviously. I'm just reporting on the stuff that I've seen and what I've read. That it would make sense to me that if this shit is as far-reaching as it is, and it obviously dates back a long time, which is a long time for this stuff to spread, it doesn't seem like it's gone anywhere. Doesn't seem like anything's changed. Nothing's ever came to light. It would make sense that if these people that have learned how to like clone humans would do so if they require humans to do this disgusting shit. Like, it literally makes sense from a business perspective. And the next Sean Ryan episode seems to be deep on this sort of stuff as well. Achy Balls with $10 says, what exists here is because they allow it to. Is there truth within it? Of course, but only the truth to be in it. But why? It keeps you where they want you to be kept, at arm's length from the truth. My man, that is worth a Suki treat. I couldn't have said it better myself. And that's kind of what I was ranting about on X today. Because we're going to be getting into Dr. Beatrice Villarroel's paper a bit more today. Because it's up for peer review, right? And if you don't know, I did a video on it, but it's basically about, in the 50s, they had data that showed that there was like thousands and thousands of what, like UFOs, doesn't mean flying saucers, just objects in the atmosphere, stationary. In the 50s, they knew this. Okay? If that paper gets rejected, just like, and you know, the reason why I say this is because, you know, Amy Eskridge is a classic example. People who seem to provide data on the UFO topic, be it, you know, free energy, or be it, hey, there looks like there was thousands of crafts in the atmosphere nearly 100 years ago. It never seems to like get any legs. It doesn't get, you know, the peer review isn't accepted, or, you know, you get killed. Whatever it is, doesn't really seem to go anywhere. If this peer review gets rejected, this is just for me personally, that is like confirmation that I think the peer review system is just another arm of the control structure that relates back to Epstein. Because Ghislaine Maxwell's dad was like instrumental in setting up the peer review system. So how much longer are we going to pretend like there isn't something fucked going on here? Do you know what I'm saying? How many things need to be in our face until normies, I should say. I know all you weirdos get it. I'm just preaching here. I'm preaching. We're at church. I'm preaching to the choir. I know. But how many more things until the normies start going, oh, you're telling me that like Hollywood isn't real? Wait, what? When Jesus returns, everyone will know, Jesus said. You know, I'll give you my interpretation of that. And this probably won't align with like a lot of people who have like a Christian outlook, or a, I don't know, pretty much any outlook that isn't mine, probably, because this is just my own theory. But I think the return of Christ, in my limited speedrunning of the Bibles with AI and just my own little downloads and theories, is that the return of Christ is actually what people call Christ consciousness. Yes, James Eglinton, thank you, took the words out of my mouth. And what Christ consciousness is going to be essentially people snapping out of the matrix and literally waking up. Like the return of people coming to their senses and being like, oh, you mean all the people in Hollywood are just actors? This isn't actually real? Oh. I think that's what the return of Christ is. I don't think some long-haired, majestic man is going to descend on his Nimbus 2000 down from the clouds and go, it is I. You have been awaiting me. Sorry I'm late. You Baal worshippers, be gone. I don't think it's going to happen like that. I think it's going to be a flipping in our consciousness where people go, okay, something's fucked. Time to change. That's just my own theory. I'm not saying it's true. This is just Josh's. We're at Church Polarity. Okay, this is where I get to say my theories, and you can disagree with me because that's how it rolls at Polarity. We can all have our own opinions. Peer review is essential to the process of modern science. I understand that people don't get it, but repeatability is key. Also, you're looking at the wrong Maxwell. So I agree with you. I agree with you. So like, and I think this is why it's so complex, right? Peer review is 100% important to modern science, and things do need to be repeated. Like, don't mistake me for saying like peer review is a Psy-Op. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. But a lot of these things almost serve like a double purpose. They're like the perfect control mechanisms that serve two purposes. Yes, they serve science and allow science to develop, but they also allow those who are in control to be like, ooh, looks like science is heading in a direction that I don't want it to. Looks like science is heading in a direction that we actually figured out 60 years ago, and we like to just keep that stuff for ourselves, actually. And you guys just stay in this little box here. So we just keep an eye on what gets peer reviewed, and we just make sure, you know, you stay in your lane, we stay in ours. It still works. It still serves its purpose. It's also got another purpose. Now, I feel like someone who's like super science would be like, prove that. Peer review that opinion. Bro, I can't. I can't. But I still believe it. I still believe it. I think there are a lot of things in this world that we can't tangibly prove that I still believe. Paris, I missed your 2-month member milestone chat. You said he would have said no, not at all. And I apologize because I am so behind on that. I have no idea what you're referring to. But I appreciate it. And yes, I agree. I absolutely agree with you, Paris. Thank you, you legend. Simon Hogg checking in late. Welcome, my man. Welcome. It's more, science is disproving my beliefs which jeopardize my position. So no. Interesting. Let's just say science as a whole is likely very controlled. I think surely we can all agree on that at the very least. That science is, it's not like this unrestricted like realm of new endeavors where people are like pushing the bounds of exploring the cosmos. No. No. It's not that at all. It's like, you think you have an idea, prove it 700 times, and then we'll maybe consider telling people that it's true. It's not like this, free-flowing realm of like geniuses spouting new theories and ideas, I don't think. That's just my opinion, again. Bill Tompkins said it best. He also had the best hairpiece we've ever seen on the channel. All right. We're nearly an hour in, and we've not really covered anything. But it's Sunday, and like I said, this is where we like to interact and have fun, so I'm okay with that. So let's focus a little bit more on 3-Eye Atlas now, and the hostile aliens that are coming to kill us soon. It's in October, isn't it? It's in October that we're all going to die from this 3-Eye Atlas, I'm pretty sure. October 29th, I believe, is D-Day. So let's take a look at this. System of Change says, I'm baked. I respect that, brother. Welcome. I hope you're hanging in there. Keep those eyes open. I got you. Get a glass of water. Get comfy. Get a little comfort blanket or something. I get it. Let's check this out. So this is earlier in the year. This is Jeremy Corbell basically saying that it was going to happen. I'm sure most of you have seen this clip, but it's going to set the show up.
But the lie is coming. All indications, like all of them, is that lie is going to be that there is a craft slowly making its way to us here on Earth. And that is the lie they're going to want you to believe.
Why does he have to be so dramatic? I know. He does love turning it on for the camera. our mate Jeremy. He does. I remember, dude, it might have even been you, Moldy. Someone said a while ago that, like, I think it was in the Matthew Brown interview, said like Solemn Corbell is hilarious or something like that. And it just made me laugh so much because like Solemn Corbell is hilarious. I don't know why, but it is.
It's nuanced, how they explain that, the nature of that threat. But that 100% is the lie you are going to be told. You even got a date. People been whispering a date for a long time now. I know where that lie comes from. I know specifically what document from the 70s initiated the idea of that lie. A classified document. That is the lie you will be told. You're going to be told that there is a craft on its way to Earth. That's the lie.
I mean, the auteur. I mean, he is a little bit of an auteur. I would say that Jeremy Corbell, a little bit. He's got a bit of a signature style to him for sure. Whether many people are a fan of that style is another debate entirely. But he definitely has his own thing going on. He's always been a drama queen, like when he didn't get credit for the papers given to Congress, so dramatic. Yeah, that is true. He did he did throw his toys out the pram. In fact, he's in the intro. I've got him in the intro throwing his toys out the pram when he didn't get that mention. It is a weird one. Because yeah, I guess he kind of made that a little bit about him. But maybe there are things going on behind the scenes that we don't know about that are a bit more like deeper. Who knows? But what he's saying here, there is a lie that is going to be told about a ship coming to Earth. Now, he says we have a date. I'm pretty sure, I'm kind of certain, when he said that, remember this is earlier in the year, he's referring to 2027, the whole 2027 thing, I believe. I could be wrong, but I think that's what he's referring to with that date mark, with that date comment. Obviously, we're hearing about it now. And, there are people who talk about 2026 as well with the Chris Bledsoe thing. And I have my own opinions on that. Someone remind me to talk about that after this clip because I need to let the clip play. But I know in a minute and a half when it finishes, I will forget. RJ says it was Werner von Braun. He's quoting the Alien Invasion false flag, the dying confession of Werner von Braun by Dr. Carl Rosen. Yeah, we've played the Dr. Carl Rosen clip a lot on this channel. And I think that needs to be talked about in this conversation as well. And I'll try to remember to talk about that as well, because I think that is important. And just before I do play the clip, which I swear to God I will soon, T-Cliz as our latest weirdo. Welcome. I think you're actually back for 2 months. Welcome, my man. Appreciate that. Can we see some love for T-Cliz? And also Build on Sound, aka the Dutch Glaswegian, £5. And he said if The Secret came out early, the timetable would change or speed up. And now we got 3 Hour Atlas coming in. Makes you wonder if he was right. That's a very good point, my man. That's right. He literally said that, like, by him speaking out, it could change things. Now, you could say that and then get away with, like, any change happening and being like, I was right. So it's kind of a weird one. But, yeah, who knows? Maybe this is that. This is that. Johnny says 3 Hour Atlas and aliens are mysterious, but the biggest mystery of all, who the flip do we believe these days? Yeah, that is the tough question. That is the tough question. I think, you know what? You know what I think the answer to that is? You don't have to believe anybody. And I think that is probably the best answer. To not, don't go all in on anyone. Stay on the fence and observe. Observe all. And just take in the data. And I find by doing that, if you just collect the data, you guys know me, mildly autistic, love to collect things, collect all the data, collect all the clips. And then over time, you start to get pattern recognition if you're also mildly autistic like me and be like, that clip that he said matches with that clip that he said 10 years ago. And this clip that he just said matches with that clip she said 5 years ago. And by doing that, you start to piece together a puzzle. of like, and you know, it's still not even perfectly clear, but you start to get a bit of an idea of like who's maybe kind of like aligning with the same people and maybe who's kind of bullshitting or who's changing their stories. I think that is the best way. Just stay a step back, keep 1 foot out of everyone, and just observe and absorb data. And you don't have to commit to anything. There's no pressure to commit to anyone. Mish has gifted 5 memberships. Mish, you're an absolute legend. You're always here supporting me. I really appreciate that. Welcome to the 5 new weirdos. Check out the members' content. Get in the members section of the Discord. Welcome. Thank you. And can we see some love for Mish? Make sure you say thank you if you just got a membership. And some love for the new weirdos as well. And you know what? We got 50 memberships earlier, which is just absolutely crazy, from Paris. And now 5 from Mish. And I don't even think I gave Suki a snack. So I will play the last minute and a half of this video after I feed Suki a snack. Yep. You know it's coming, don't you? Come on. Yeah. Nicely. Nicely. Oop. Crunch, crunch, crunch.
But the lie is coming.
I really need to get the crunch cam, the crunch mic. That's what's important. All right, where were we? Here we go.
That's the lie. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Me too, bro.
I sent you 2 texts today with a year. Not from me.
Oh yeah, here we go. It's the 2027 part.
Nope. I'm not going to propagate that lie. Not going to be part of it. Not going to say it to the camera.
What are you doing, though? Just said you weren't going to say it to the camera. But you are?
Everybody knows. Just start paying attention. And they'll change the date, especially if they see this. Things will change. Because maybe I'm trustworthy. Maybe I'm worthy of your trust. Maybe I've told you the truth the whole way through it. Now you can verify it. If that's the case, then I'm fucking dangerous.
Come on, bro. Don't say that.
You've been told the truth about UFOs for a long time now. It's been pretty orchestrated. It's been pretty clear. And it's using people that are telling the truth and want to tell the truth. Ultimately, they want you to know something. They want you to know UFOs are real. Thank God we're finally there. We're all there now. They want you to know the truth. But why they want you to know that truth now?
Bro is the hero and the villain all at once. He really is. He's a one-man band, Mr. Corbell. Yep. Jeremy the Iceman Corbell. The UFO scene has turned into a restaurant called Nothing Burger. So much trust me, bros. Yes, and the only thing on the menu is the cum burgers. Sorry, that was too fast. I shouldn't have said that. And for anyone who joined the stream, I have to go back and give context to that. We were talking about the Turkey UFO sighting that is called cum burgers. Okay, that's not like some rogue statement that I just came out with. There is UFO context to that. I had to explain that for anyone who wasn't here for that because that's crazy. Kinsei Sensei, $10. Best show in the YouTube UFO sphere. Hands down. Keep up the great work, Josh. Make sure Suki gets a little nibble. For that, sir, it would be rude not to. Thank you. Thank you very much. Rep2 Elite says, whoa, cum burgers? No, dude, you spelt it wrong. It's not like that. That's gross. That's disgusting. Why would you say that? Bro, why would you say that? That's disgusting. It's Kumb, all one word. Go and wash your mouth out, dude. That's gross. I'm just kidding. Come on. Good girl. All right, Jeremy, you got 25 seconds left, mate. You don't need to shovel to dig yourself any deeper, but go ahead.
Hope I'm wrong.
Me too.
But it's terrifying. Think about it. Maybe it's good to get ahead of it. Call it out now before they do it. I'll be called crazy. That's okay.
Oh, Dude, that ending shot is crazy. The build up of tension and volume and the slow zoom in with the solemn eyes down. That's crazy. And like, look, let's rewatch this without sound while we talk about it. This is crazy. Okay, and look, I just want to be clear here because I feel like a common thing is that like people think like ripping on someone, like we're kind of ripping on Jeremy now, means that I like hate Jeremy or don't like him, and that's just not the case. This isn't personal. This is not personal for me at all. But it's like what we're talking about here is like the theatrics of what's going on. And I actually think, obviously, I mean, Jeremy's a filmmaker, so he is obviously quite a eccentric theatrical personality, and that's just the way some people are. But I think, and understandably, that rubs people up the wrong way in this space specifically, right? Because it's like the X-Files. It's like this topic already has so much like woo spooky attached to it that it like throws off any kind of credibility that the topic should have. So, you know, when we get Solemn Corbell with his eyes down and a slow zoom and dramatic music, it's like I totally get it why it annoys people, for sure. I personally just think like I think it's funny. Like I just laugh at it. And I do like, and you know, he does come out with some good information. Like it was because of him that we got Matthew Brown, and maybe we can talk about that. So, you know, I would never write him off completely. I'll always check out what he comes out with and what he has to say. But, you know, I guess everyone's just different. Everyone's different. Everyone expresses themselves in their own way. And I understand why it's annoying, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, bro, that's just Jeremy. That's just Jeremy. It's the way he is. And, you know, I don't think it doesn't make him a bad person. I've always said I think he'd be super cool to have a beer with. I feel like he'd be like a bro to have a beer with for sure. But maybe just like don't do this stuff. Maybe just don't do this. But hey, who the hell am I to say that? Who gives a fuck what I have to say? Corbell and Knapp are a perfect team. That's an interesting one, Jess. You know, a lot of people question. I mean, Knapp is obviously like an OG of the space, right? It's strange. I mean, I don't know how they linked up. It could have been like just a chance that they met at some place and hit it off. Or was like one of them like intentionally kind of plugged into the other to, you know what I'm trying to get at, right? Who knows? Who knows? Because, you know, they do lots of podcasts together, and you cannot deny the fact that sometimes when Jeremy's being Jeremy, George Knapp looks like Vernon Dursley in Harry Potter when he has guests over and Harry Potter escapes from the cupboard and embarrasses Vernon. Okay, this is obviously kind of like I'm getting into Harry Potter lore here, which is very important to me. But for those who don't understand Harry Potter lore, basically it's like you're like embarrassing estranged son or brother comes out of the closet when you're trying to make a good impression to someone, and it's just like, oh, for fuck's sake, why did you, like, how, I thought I locked the door. How did you get out? That's the vibe I get sometimes from George Knapp. All right, we got a few things to catch up on here. Toxic Fart with $2 says the Cumburgers video is the greatest UFO video ever. Yes, it is very interesting. And just to be clear, that is spelt Kumburgaz, if anyone wants to look it up. We're not talking about some rogue restaurant dish. UFO Hunters has become a member. Welcome back as a member. I believe that is a milestone membership. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the support. So we see some love for UFO Hunters. And Kevin Show with $20. Carol Rosen, who worked with Von Braun, was told by him in the 70s that a fake alien attack would happen. It is in the doc UFO Greatest Story Ever Denied. I put the doc in your Discord. The doc was made in 2006. Thank you, mate. I appreciate your support. It's definitely worth a Suki snack, that's for sure. I think I want to get her some healthier snacks, by the way. I want to get her some healthier snacks. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if these aren't like terrible, but I would like to maybe get her like some kangaroo meat or something like that. What was I about to say? Carol Rosen. So yeah, I've played the Carol Rosen clip on the channel a lot, and like I said, that's something that needs to stay considered, and we can't let time wipe that from our minds. It needs to stay in the equation when we consider all the data, 100%. What it means, though, I mean, oh God, we could do a whole video on that. And in fact, I actually want to. I think a really cool video, we could probably split it up into 2 parts maybe, would be to look at the 2001 Stephen Greer disclosure press conference. And we just kind of can watch all the testimony from people like Carol Rosen. I think Clifford Stone was maybe even there. I think Carl Wolf was even there. The guy who, like in the 50s or something, was shown photos of the backside of the moon where they saw like literal established cities, or to some degree of like lots of like a civilization that's clearly there. And he was like, oh, cool. I guess this is going to come out in the news soon. And it just never did. I'm pretty sure he spoke at that conference. So that there's lots of, so did Don Phillips. I've covered Don Phillips on the channel, ex-Skunkworks employee who said the CIA was our best customer. And also said like, people think the US Air Force is the best Air Force. And like shook his head, referring to, no, the CIA has the best Air Force. So, you know, there is so much in that we could get into for sure. That's probably a good video idea. Maybe we'll do that later this week. Johnny, back with another $2, says Atlas's silence, mercy, or countdown. I'm gonna say countdown to giant rock passing and everyone going, okay, back to work. The moon is occupied. I think that's probably likely. Yep. 700 here, only 300 likes. Guys, what are you doing? What are you doing? Look, I spent a few hours putting this show together, and I do that because I absolutely love it, and I love you, and I love being here. But if you could take 1 second to like the video, that would be great. That would be great. I would love that. Corbell used pedal quantum jujitsu. I feel like Corbell probably does do jujitsu. He does come across as that guy, 100%. Careful talking about alphabet agencies. Bro, I messed that up probably about 100 videos ago. Yep. Yep. I messed that up a long time ago, unfortunately, and that is why I am mildly concerned about going to America. No, I am going and I'm excited, but I am mildly concerned. But I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. Adjust your settings to accept memberships. Yes, great point. Great point, Paris. All right, let's... a bit late for that now. It is, yep, but still better late than never. Okay, I think we should move on to the next video. Yeah, we will. We will. The next one. So, okay, we've got Avi Loeb next. Who wants to... Let's do a quick poll. Do you... This video goes for 6.5 minutes. This is Avi Loeb on News Nation. Do you think... This is just a yes or no in chat. Do you think Avi Loeb is going to either directly ask or allude to the fact that we need money to study this thing? Let's get a chat. Let's get a little quick poll in chat. Yes or no? Yes, he is going to allude to wanting money, or no, he isn't. Let's go. Quick fire. No Googling, no reviewing the video, no looking for the video. Let's just go. Quick. Yes, yes, yes. Avi wants to intercept Atlas. He does want to intercept Atlas. Yes, 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 yes. No. Always money. No, yes, no, no, yes, 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 yes. Okay. I'm going to say this is like a 90 to 95% majority yes. Let's find out.
A supposed comet is catching the attention of some of the nation's most renowned scientists, as one Harvard professor is raising the theory this may actually be a piece of alien technology. According to renowned theoretical physicist Professor Avi Loeb, the comet is on an extremely unusual path, moving too fast to be bound by the sun's gravity, breaking a typically seen orbital trajectory. And while this comet poses no current threat, Professor Loeb believes more data should be collected to uncover the nature of this object and whether it has the potential to create risks in the future. Joining us now to discuss more is that scientist himself, Harvard professor of science and author of Extraterrestrial, the First Sign of Intelligent Life Beyond Earth, Avi Loeb. Professor, it's always so good to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight.
It's wonderful to see you, Natasha.
So, Professor Loeb, your recent paper suggests that this object might actually be alien technology rather than just another comet. What exactly about the speed, the trajectory, the behavior leads you to consider this as a possibility?
Well, first, it's relatively bright for its distance, implying that if it's a solid object, it has to be 20 kilometers in diameter. That's twice as big as the giant asteroid that killed the dinosaurs 66 million years ago. And the previous objects we saw from interstellar space were only hundreds of meters in size. So there is just not enough rocky material in interstellar space to provide us with a 20-kilometer rock that appears once per decade.
Atlas is being ridden by mantids and machine elves passing by Earth while throwing orbs and eggs. Now that is a theory I can get on board with, Sean. I like it. Also, like, Avi's been talking for less than a minute, and he's already said that this is twice the size. I think he said twice or maybe more. At least twice the size, bigger than the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs, allegedly. That kind of feels a bit like fear-mongering. It's like, what? Sorry, I keep burping. I don't know why. Like, what are you alluding to? Like this is going to wipe us out? Like, that's, I don't know. To me, it's like, that's a weird little thing to slip in there. Like, it's, it's twice as big as the thing that killed all the dinosaurs. So, it's probably twice the chance it could kill all of us. That's how that comes across to me. But I could be interpreting that wrong because I'm a little sus. You know what I'm saying?
But more importantly, the trajectory is very unusual. It's aligned with the orbit of the Earth around the sun. And the chance of that happening is 1 in 500. And then the timing of its arrival is very fine-tuned because it comes very close to Jupiter, to Mars, and to Venus. And the chance of that happening is 1 in 20,000. And moreover, it's moving in the opposite direction to the motion of the Earth around the sun. And when it will come closest to the sun, the Earth would be on the opposite side. So we won't be able to observe it. That's the point in time when it can do a maneuver with the aid of the sun's gravity. And that will happen on October 29th. And I already heard from a fan that he is trading options against the volatility of the markets, the stock market, with an expiration date because of the October 29th, because if it's alien tech, that would change the future in quite dramatic way. It will have a huge.
Oh, bro, tell us your ulterior motive without telling us your ulterior motive. Holy. Yeah, this thing, it's twice as big as the thing that killed the dinosaurs. And, a friend of mine who, plays in the stock market, he's banking on the stock market crashing, actually. Yep. He's going to be selling everything because, this is alien technology. It's probably going to mean the end of the world. Yep. Yeah, we're going to need $1 billion to study this thing, I think. Otherwise, the stock market and the whole world is going to die because it's twice as big as the one that killed the dinosaurs. What happened to Josh's intellectual curiosity in life? Can you elaborate on what you mean by that a little bit more? Can you elaborate on why you think my intellectual curiosity has disappeared, in your opinion? I would love to understand more about that. All of a sudden, I've lost respect for Avi. Yeah, look, I don't think it's a tough one, right? Because I can't help but try to put myself in the other person's shoes, and I'm so aware of the fact that like I don't know Avi Loeb personally. I don't know what goes on in his head or in his home. And I often think that like there is a chance. I mean, obviously, yeah, he could just be trying to like rage bait or fearmonger and whatever. But I also think that like there is a chance that people who are so deep in their field and like in their world that he really believes this. He really believes it could be a hostile alien threat, and he really believes the best thing for humanity is getting $1 billion to study it. So it's like, yes, from our perspective, that's like, bro, what are you trying to do? Like, trying to milk money out of people, trying to study this big rock, telling us it's aliens. And yes, that might be true, but like, from Avi Loeb's perspective, he might actually believe that, and he actually thinks he's doing a good thing for humanity. And I like to think often that that is the case. I like to because it's like it's literally perspective. We all have a choice on how we want to see things, right? And we can't prove it unless you're Avi's mate or his neighbor. You don't actually know what his intention is. We can all speculate that he's like some crazy, like freaky scientist trying to steal money from everyone, maybe. Or you could say, maybe his theory is a little cooked, but he probably thinks he's doing the right thing. Either way, who knows what's true? We can't prove it, but we all have the choice of how we want to perceive him. And I mean, when you're overran with like evidence and reasons to believe one way or another, then fair enough. But when it is like totally speculative and we actually kind of don't know, I think the best option to take temporarily, because you can always change, is like a positive one. And I just think, I think, like, I don't believe this is hostile aliens, obviously. I think that part of it's retarded. But I think Avi Loeb is doing what he thinks is the right thing, and he thinks he's doing good. That's what I think. I don't think there's bad intention on Avi's behalf. That's me personally. That's called intellectual curiosity, Josh. Nice job. Are you referring to me asking him to elaborate on what he meant, which I don't think he did. At least I didn't see it, if he did. I don't think I've lost intellectual curiosity. In fact, I think I'm an extremely curious person. That's why I do this stuff, because it's fun and it's interesting to dive in and have opinions. And you should all have your own. Don't just watch my show and take what I say as gospel. You should all have your own opinions. Is it just me, or has the sound gone down? Is that on me or on the clip that we're watching? My mic is weird. No, regarding Avi. So you believe Avi is intellectually curious? I think that's a fair call. I would say that for sure. Nice of you to give him the benefit of the doubt. Well, I guess it's like, why wouldn't you when we don't actually know? Like, if you don't, like I said, if there's overwhelming reason to fully doubt someone and think they're a bit sus, like Lou Elizondo showing pictures of chandeliers and cornfields multiple times, while also at the same time claiming to come from a literal intelligence agency and working in counter intel. When you've got that many ducks lined up, that's when I think it's fair to say, I think this guy's a little bit sus. But with Avi, he's not really done anything outright like negative or sus. He could literally just be a scientist who it doesn't come from researching UFOs like us weirdos, and is just kind of like interested in this topic, has seen a big space rock and is like, hey, maybe this is aliens. Like, it could literally just be that. It's not always like hella negative. You know what I'm saying? We're halfway through this clip. I'll finish it off in a sec. Achy Balls with $10 says, King's Counsel of Law, Solicitor and Attorney General and Keeper of the Seal, spoke 7 languages. Right hand to 1611 Bible King James. Bacon fathered of modern scientific method brought literally to masses. Bro, I don't know what the hell you just said, but I respect it. I appreciate it. I don't know what it means, but I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. I appreciate it. Thank you. And I think I'll give Suki a snack for that. Jared, celebrating his 3 months as a weirdo. Congratulations, my man. Thank you for being here and all of your support. I do not consent to hostile Snowball, Psy-Op, or Khazarian mafia rituals. My man, neither do I. Down with vampires. Vampires are the only things that I'm openly racist against. No, actually, they're the only things I am racist against. I'm anti-vampire and proud. And I think we should all be. I'm sure that there would be like some hella woke pro-cancel culture woke virtue signaler out there that would be like, you can't say that about the vampires. Shut up. Get out of here.
I mean, so many questions. So, I mean, if I have this correct, I believe you've proposed using a Richter scale before to assess such objects. A 0 means this is totally of natural origin. 10 means this is clearly engineered. Based on what we know about this object and what you're observing, what number would you give it now?
We don't have enough data. It depends how much weight you give to the unusual orbit. The trajectory is extremely rare and fine-tuned. And depending on that, how much you assign to that, you will give it a rank that is somewhere in the middle. It's difficult to assess at this time, but we will get, the good news is we'll get much more better data in the coming months. And the fun of doing science is that you can ask questions at first and then answer them with data. And we don't need to have an opinion.
So this is interesting. Daniel just said, how do they know it's a threat? Daniel, they don't. They're assuming. And, to be fair, I don't think Avi has explicitly stated that it's a threat. He's saying it could potentially be alien technology. And I think it's like the retarded, mainstream media like New York Post and whatever that's like jumping on the whole hostile side of things. So look, I don't think Avi is suggesting it's hostile, but it's suggesting that it's alien is an easy way for the mainstream media to be like, it's a threat. Fear, be scared, be fear. Be in fear, live in fear. Like it's all too easy. You know what I mean? Where is the counter argument to Avi Loeb in the interview? Not enough data. When are we going to deploy Ben Affleck and Bruce Willis to sort this big rock out with Aerosmith playing in the backdrop? Now, that's something I can get behind. Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. We're dealing with alien vampires now. No, not quite. The vampires they're actually here. They worship a god called Baal, and they sacrifice people and children to it, and they apparently drink the blood of them as well. That's what we're learning. Yep, they're the vampires, not the aliens.
Especially in a blind date like this one, all bets are off. This visitor came from interstellar space, and it's possible that, it targeted the inner solar system for a technological reason.
From what you're describing, this sounds like one of the worst blind dates potentially I've ever heard of. Do we have the capabilities right now to track, intercept, and even respond to something non-human entering our solar system as soon as October?
Well, it will be moving relative to Earth at nearly 100 kilometers per second when it's closest to the sun.
100 kilometers per second. That's actually like wild. That's like think about that. 100 kilometers per second. That's probably like, I don't know, 60 miles a second in American units. But that's, she quick. She quick. Deanna Corley, welcome, you little freak. Thank you for becoming a weirdo and supporting the channel. I appreciate that. Can we see some love for Deanna in the chat? Make sure you go check out the members videos and get in Discord. Come hang out in the members only section as well. It's always a lot of fun. Good vibes in there. He said it's going to... That's another thing, Toxic Fart, as well. This thing is going to pass on the opposite side of the sun. Like, we're going to be way over here. This thing's going to be on the other side of the sun. Like, it's not like it's coming to even close to Earth. It's going to be literally millions of kilometers away. It's crazy. That's slow, cosmically speaking. That's not what I've heard. I've heard that this thing is abnormally fast, and that's why it's an anomaly. Because it's so big and it's abnormally fast. Glad I found my people. I'm glad to have you here. It's a pleasure. Random dude throws in $2. Doesn't leave a note, but random dude, I thank you, sir. I appreciate your support. It's 223,400 miles per hour. Yeah, so it's basically just like really slow.
Simply because it moves in the opposite direction to the motion of the Earth. There is no way for us to send a rocket that will intercept with it from Earth. However, I wrote a paper last week that there is actually a spacecraft that is orbiting Jupiter. It's called Juno, and it's at the end of its life. The plan was to send it straight into Jupiter in September 2025 because the mission has ended. But what I realized is that if instead of giving it a push so that it ends its life inside Jupiter, you give it a push away from Jupiter, if the push is sufficient, then it will actually intercept the orbit of 3I Atlas, this new object, in March 2026, when it will come very close to Jupiter. And on Tuesday this week, just a few days ago, I had a phone call from Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna.
Here we go.
Who asked me for an update about the 3I Atlas, and I mentioned this to her, and she wrote a letter to NASA on Thursday last week, just 2 days ago, in which she encourages NASA to look into the possibility of using Juno as a probe of 3I Atlas.
I really appreciate that update, and I hope you keep us updated on this as well. Professor Avi Loeb, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thanks for having me.
And if you want to hear more directly from Professor Avi Loeb, check out The Truth of the...
Okay, so all of you negative people who thought Avi Loeb was going to ask for money were wrong. Yeah, you were wrong. It's okay. It's okay to be wrong. But it means that, you know, maybe we shouldn't always assume the worst. But let's talk about this anomaly just quickly. I've got another video from... I've got a video... I actually have the weirdest video to show you next. It's of Alex Jones and Ian Carroll talking about 3I Atlas, but it's so weird because they're literally sitting in like a rock pool together with their shirts off. It's so weird. But it's kind of interesting, so I thought we'd look at that. But okay, let's talk about this, right? Does anyone find it kind of weird that apparently the hottest woman to ever show an interest in politics just so happens to be spearheading the task force to investigate the most covered up, secretive, highly classified topic ever to exist that is primarily looked into and investigated by middle-aged men who would think she is hot? Does anyone think that's kind of weird? Is there even another female in politics who is remotely attractive? Like, there's not even female politicians that are like, oh yeah, she's all right. Like, no. They all have like, you know, hair that, like, sorry, I don't want to get mean, but like, they're generally not very attractive, okay? They're generally not very attractive. Then you have this woman who is very attractive, actually, and has these like shoots in like swimwear. And, you know, like, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, you know, go get it. You know, you've got it. Show it off for sure. But, like, just the fact that, like, you do that, You got these swimwear shoots in front of the American flag. You know, really, really tapping into like the patriotic, like, yeah, America, low-key simping this hot-ass girl at the same time. And then she's like becoming this voice of like speaking for how the direction of the government's investigation into this really secret topic goes. It's just like, bro, I don't know. I don't know about that, you know? It's just a bit weird. Johnny says Anna Luna is smoking too. Let's not forget her. Johnny, damn it. You're missing the message. You're missing the point. I know she's hot. That's why you should be sus. Josh, you're stretching? What part do you think I'm stretching? Do you think the fact, like, do you think it's just like maybe she's like so basically you're saying, Josh, relax. She's just hot. She just happens to be hot and happens to be spearheading the most covered up topic in the entire history of humanity. Is that what you're saying? That's just a coincidence? I'm not trying. I know I sound sarcastic. I know I do, but I'm really being serious. Is that what you're trying to say? You think that's just a coincidence? You do. Exactly. Okay. Fair enough, Mike. You're entitled to your opinion, bro. That would be coincidence number 6,718, I believe, which is fine. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. But I guess after, you know, that many, I start to get a little bit, you know, she's not that hot, Josh. Look, obviously, you know, beauty is subjective, 100%. I think we could say she is conventionally attractive. Like on what most people would consider attractive, she would probably fall into that category. Do more research. Okay, Mike. Sorry, man. What I'll do is before next stream, I'll email you everything that I've got. And if you could just cross over it for me. And if you give me the tick of approval, I'll go live. But if you're not happy with what I've got, I'll go hide in a cave until it's up to your standard. If that's all right with you. She's hot, but I'm okay with it. Yeah, look, I think that's the whole point, right? Is that she is hot and that's why people will be okay with what she says. Like, that's literally the point. That's literally the point of what I'm getting at, is that people will eat out of her hand because she's hot and she just happens to be spearheading the most secretive, covered up shit of all time. Wakey, wakey. All right, let's get into Alex Jones and Ian Carroll broing out with their shirts off. Now we're talking. Forget Anna Luna. Wait till you see Alex Jones and Ian Carroll with their tops off. God dang. Where are we? Where are we here? All right, yeah, we're gonna watch that video. Here we go. Yep. Look at that. Look at that. That's a work of art. Hang that. Just if we can, once this hostile alien threat picture is gone, screenshot it, hang it in the Louvre. And if it's not going to get put in the Louvre, it'll go in the Polarity Hall of Fame. Actually, we should do something like that. We should make a Polarity Hall of Fame channel in Discord where we just, we need to do this. We need to do this. And there's a back catalogue of things we need to put up there. Obviously, Matthew Brown saying Borbs is a big one. But there's a lot of moments in Polarity lore that need to be hung in the museum. I'm going to get onto that this week. We're going to create a museum of Polarity meme lore. And that excites me so much to make that. I can't lie. That excites me to do that stuff. That's what gets me off. Serpenter, my G, with $25. Had to cut the grass, so I'm late, but happy to be here with our weirdo fam now. Bust out a cookie for my girl, Suki. Come here, Suki. Come here. Come here. Yep. Come on. Yeah. Good girl. I'll make sure we get her we'll do another full screen one before the stream ends. They're the best. The DeLonge Elizondo pick has to go in there. Exactly. You're the man, Brian. You know, you've obviously been around a while. That's going in there 100%. I'm excited to scroll back at the Polarity lore and look at what we've got. Chill Mike says, lol, you peeps are odd. Bro doesn't know where he is. Bro doesn't realize you're literally in the community that call themselves weirdos. Like, that's literally what this is. So, I don't know if you're lost, bro, but if you are, welcome. You're going to get looked after here. It's good hospitality. The weirdos are good people. We'll look after you, man. You're in good hands, but just, know where you are. All right. Let's look at Grand Maester Alex and Lord Ian. Talk about what's going on with... You good? Serp, I think your cookie went down the wrong hole. She's good now, though. All right. Let's get into this.
Object set to come into the solar system, trapped between Mars and Earth.
That's definitely on... Yeah, sorry. All my stuff is set to 1.5.
They've got another giant object set to come into the solar system, trapped between Mars and Earth. It's got a name. And of course, they've got the whistleblower a year ago. There's going to be a big object coming through the next 3 years, and they're going to say it's an alien, and this is the blue beam Psy-Op. I'm not saying that guy's a fraud. What I'm saying is that
he was literally directly referencing the Corbell video that we just watched, by the way.
There's always these big objects coming through. The media always asks, is it an alien, whether it's Hale-Bopp or the one that a couple of years ago. It goes on and on. So it's like making a prediction that, like Nostradamus would say, in September of 1 year, a tower will burn and then a king will be struck in the eye. And then 300 years later, there's a battle in September at a French castle, and a king gets shot in a crossbow in the eye. They go, oh my God, Nostradamus knew it. No. They didn't specifically say Bin Laden. They're going to say Bin Laden flew planes to the World Trade Center to take our liberties and then launch and take over the Middle East and Central Asia, like I did. And I didn't do that from Nostradamus stuff. I just did pre-programming. So the whole Q thing, all of that is Gnostic.
Josh do a hot tub stream. Hey, we're coming up to 30K. We're going to have to celebrate somehow.
Like pattern recognition that's real simple. Reminds me of a real simple, there's going to be some big broad thing, and then people will then see the patterns of that and say that. I'm not saying that guy's part of the Psy-Op. There's clearly a Psy-Op the last 4 or 5 years of all these whistleblowers putting out all sorts of disinformation about UFOs, saying all these...
Kat Simpson says, I just walked back in. WTF, why are they there? Kat, that's a fantastic question and remains unanswered. But that's part of why this is funny, this clip. But also, it's funny how, like, Ian Carroll, who's obviously, a bit, like, newer on the scene comparatively, he's still got a huge following, but, like, compared to Alex Jones, a lot newer. And it's funny how, like, in this clip, he's just kind of, like, letting Alex speak, almost like the apprentice watching and learning from the master. That's how I interpret Ian's body language in this clip.
These obvious human-made craft are really aliens. When Biden was in so much trouble the last few months of the race, Kamala come in, they did a whole UFO scare. That was just human craft all over the place. And they got some of this secret stuff going around. Remember, Trump said we control time and space now. They do have anti-grav, all that. So obviously there's stuff all over the universe, but if you go back to the Apollo programs, the rest of it, there's all the film footage and stuff that they don't put a lot on TV of the astronauts showing craft following them and stuff. So, and there's shots from satellites out there of these things flying all over the planet, and the Tic Tacs and all the rest of it in the 70s and 80s before, we think humans were able to develop that anti-grav and get it deployed. So you understand, you've got Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and then it goes out into the gas giants. You got Pluto that was the 9th planet, but once they found out there were hundreds and hundreds of things bigger than Pluto out there, and thousands and thousands of large objects in the Kuiper belt that goes out from the solar system and the gravity of the sun. Then you've got all sorts of stuff that's coming through space and also on other orbits like comets that aren't on the same trajectory. So they can aim with their radio telescopes, get these scans of these things and create all sorts of fear, and they can aim out in the Kuiper belt and say, oh, look at this thing, it looks like a space.
So there's that. Someone said, why are they shirtless? And someone else said, someone else said some things remain best unanswered. And I think that is probably the best way to summarize that. And, you know, who was filming? I don't know. Why did they start filming? I don't know. Like, I do kind of wonder, like, well, you know, why were they there in the first place? I have no idea. You know, they could just be hanging out. Like, they could literally just be bros, just hanging out. You know, you want to go for like a sauna or a hot pool together or something like that. And they were maybe just like, yeah. And then maybe Alex Jones just kind of like got in the zone, got a little download and was just like, hey, turn the camera on. Turn the camera on. I'm in it. I got it. Because I get that. Like, sometimes, like, if I get something, I'm like, I have to film now. Otherwise, it's gone. So I get that. I feel like Alex could have maybe just had that moment where he's like, yep, it's coming. It's coming. Open up the door. It's coming out. I totally get that. 2 dudes in a hot tub? Yeah. Don't Google that. Don't Google that, Heidi. You will not get Alex Jones and Ian Carroll. I promise you. Do not Google that. Tom Jalale with $10 is advertising his Spotify, which you can see on the screen. I won't read it out because that's kind of weird, but thank you for the tenner, bro. And Ali, our latest member. Welcome, you little weirdo. Enjoy the members-only content. Go check out the members section of the Discord. Can we see some love hearts for Ali? Welcome to the weirdest corner of the internet, but also the best corner of the internet, in my personal opinion, which is absolutely biased. But hey, you know, I'm allowed to do that. It's my channel. If they had have held hands, they really would have got some clicks. Oh, dude, that would have made for a video. Alex Jones holds hands with Ian Carroll discussing flying objects in space. That's a headline. And I think this kind of, what's this? Oh no, we've looked at that. This is what I want to get up. It's interesting, like what Alex is saying there, right? He's saying that, like, you know, objects in space, this is something that is not new. When the Apollo missions were going to the moon, if they even did, when they were doing something out there, you know, there were things following the shuttles, following the spacecraft. We know that there is, you know, Harold Malmgren called them tag-alongs. This idea of things following rocket tests, missile tests, shuttles, all of this stuff is not new, right? We've heard various counts of this for a long, long time. And this is a screen grab from the paper from Dr. Villarroel that came out recently. And you know, I don't know if anyone doesn't fully know, but this paper, I don't know fully how it came about, but this paper is from the 50s. Sorry, no, that's wrong. The paper is recent, but the data that they're speaking about in the paper is from the 50s, right? That there are thousands, or in the 50s, they could see with these, whatever they were using, telescopes or whatever, that there was objects in space, literally everywhere, stationary, which is exactly what, let me see if I can pull that up real quick, Jamie. This is exactly what, yep, it's coming. Here it is. This is exactly what Patrick Jackson proposes in his sphere network theory, right? That there is a network. Now, obviously, like when he speaks about this, people are thinking specifically about spheres and orbs. And I feel like in this paper that's just come out, people are kind of talking about maybe more typical UFO objects. And I feel like when we say UFO, we think flying saucer, typically, right? But UFO really just means something potentially non-human that is like in our atmosphere that we don't understand. Patrick Jackson suggests that there is a network of these spheres, you know, possibly originating from some higher intelligence or a more advanced intelligence that is working as some kind of like surveillance grid, some kind of monitoring system of Earth. And it's been here for a long time. It's been here for a long time. If you guys remember the stream that I did, I mean, since I've got it here, I'll just keep pulling this shit up. If you guys remember this stream that I did, where we did a deep dive into all, well, not all, but we did over 2 hours of cases of spheres that have been sighted, either crashed or whatever. The earliest one that I found was like 1887. And the report was so old, I couldn't even read it properly because it was like old English. And I just sounded like an idiot trying to read the report. But this thing has been happening for a long time, okay? And again, this paper from Dr. Villarroel that's just come out, this paper here is from the 40s and 50s, data from the 40s and 50s, basically backing this sphere network up with science, okay? Now, the paper doesn't explicitly reference Patrick Jackson's theory, but I think it's quite clear that they're potentially related, or at the very least, I think that's a reasonable assumption for us to make here. It's not confirmed, it's a reasonable assumption. Now, why I think this is interesting, and I'll see if I can find the clip, is the Bluegill Triple Prime and Starfish Prime nuclear tests, right? These tests happened in 1962, where we detonated nuclear weapons in, well, I don't know if it was in like our atmosphere or just outside, but they were classed as high altitude nuclear tests. Now, this is like 10 years after like Hiroshima, okay? This is like roughly 10 years or a little bit more after we felt the wrath and devastation of what a nuclear bomb does. So to suggest that we then just randomly were like, let's see what this devastation and absolute death does up there. Why not? We're in the middle of a Cold War. Why don't we just go blow the shit up out of the atmosphere? See what happens. That's kind of like what we've been told. And understandably, people hear that and go, oh my God, humanity are ran by like fucking psychopath apes that just love blowing each other up. And that's totally understandable when you don't realize that these people probably at this point in time had access to this data and were like, oh, it seems like there is a literal network of unidentified objects in our upper atmosphere or, low Earth orbit parked there. So when they saw that, it actually makes way more sense and we sound way less like psychopathic apes that we decided to go, it would be like being in the war room and going, guys, this data says there is a whole bunch of things up there. They're just sitting there. What do we do? I guess let's just try and knock one out and see if we can pick it up and see what it is. That makes way more sense than being like, yeah, let's go blow up nukes in the sky. Woo! Like, that's crazy. And again, it comes back to, we don't actually know. So we are gifted the choice of perspective, and it is actually a gift. Having the choice of perspective is a gift because you can choose to think that we're all psychopathic apes and that the world is going downhill fast, which it might be, still might be. But you also can say, hey, maybe humanity and the people in charge were actually trying to do the right thing. And maybe they knocked something out of the sky and it triggered like a literal invasion of our society and cooked us. And that's why this is the terrible truth, because we're now in a prison planet. Maybe that's true. But the intentions might have been good. Maybe that's why they don't want to admit it, because they done fucked up bad. Like, these things make way more sense. I'm not saying they're true, but I'm just trying to post some alternative ways of thinking to you guys and some ideas that I think make way more sense than we're just crazy apes that love blowing shit up all the time. Because if this study is true, which I kind of tend to believe it is, then bluegill triple prime, starfish prime make a lot of sense. Now, I'm going to pull in a clip here from, I actually really want to watch this interview in full with you guys. And I've been saying it for a long time, and I swear to God I'll do it. Tom DeLonge is the new Phil Schneider, by the way, where I say we're going to look at him for like 6 months until I actually do it. But we will do the Tom DeLonge deep dive soon. It'll probably be split into, I reckon, 2 parts because there's just a lot of lore there. But this is what is this? This is a 7.5 minute clip. Okay, that's nice. That's a nice little juicy one. We're going to look at that. And because I think Tom says a lot of truths here. So just before this will be the last clip of the show, by the way. Before we do get into that, a couple of chats to catch up on. Jared, my man, says, with $5, says the remote viewer that worked with Axelrod, forget his name, spoke of deep underground bases under mountains beaming signals to an orbital platform. Wow. I mean, the whole stuff about, they're in the mountains or in the oceans, I think that's pretty legit. I haven't heard about the beaming signals, but wouldn't surprise me, bro. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Erlen celebrating his 1 month as a member. Thank you, brother. Josh, your channel is fantastic. Best money I've ever spent on YouTube. Much success, mate. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I really do. Those kind of kind comments mean a lot to me. Thank you, mate. And $5 from Good Morning UFO says, love seeing new voices in the UFO community. You always have an open invite, Josh. Thank you. I'm assuming you do a podcast or something like that. That's what you mean. That's very kind of you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So what I'll do quickly is just pull this in here.
I guess to put it in a nutshell, a lot of people are just...
Okay, 1 sec. I'm looking forward to this. Let me just play it.
A lot of people are just...
Yeah, that's Mr. George Knapp. Jeremy Corbell's ashamed father. Jeremy Corbell's embarrassed dad. There was something I wanted to say, and I can't remember. Which is crazy, right? It's crazy that I can't remember because I usually talk too much. Okay, what we'll do is we'll just watch this. Actually, no, I won't. I remember what I want to say, but I've decided that I won't say it. But I think I will dive into it in a video soon. But it relates to all of this bluegill triple prime stuff. I think what I'll say is I've been put onto some interesting information about this. That's why I'm talking about it again. But I'm not prepared to go any further yet until I get it all together, and I'll do a video on it, not a live stream, but I'll go deeper when I'm ready to. But let's check this out. This is one part of George Knapp interviewing Tom DeLonge.
I guess to put it in a nutshell, a lot of people are just laugh at it and ready to dismiss it. But now for a fact there are high-level people who know that it's real.
Who are you, Ross 2.0? Get out of here, Cat Simpson, with that garbage. No, it's not that at all. I'm happy to talk about... I've asked the person if they're even okay with me saying what's in the email and saying who they are, because it's someone that you guys would probably know. But I haven't seen a reply yet, so I just want to respect that. That's all. But no, once I've got the all clear and I've got all my shit in my ducks in a line, I'll make the video and I'll tell you guys all about it. I just, and I'm sure it won't be a problem either. This isn't like some crazy spooky shit. This is just like respecting people's privacy so far.
Yes, not only do I know for a fact that there are groups and high-level groups within the DOD and national security divisions of our country. Not only do I know that they know it's real, I'm starting to get a clear picture of why it's kept secret and why it's been treated the way that it's been treated to people like us civilians, which is, once again, an element of that giggle factor.
We have a right to know. We're ready. You hear it every day, in the UFO field. We can handle the truth. We have a right to know. Tell us what's going on.
I feel like, to make an analogy, maybe one of your best friends You got to go and approach one of your best friends about something that's really heavy and is really going to crush his life. And you're like, oh, I don't want to do this today, and I'll do it tomorrow. And then you're like, oh, I don't want to call him up and do this, and I'll do it next week. You put it off because it's something's going to really hurt somebody, and it's just a big thing to jump into. And I feel like that's kind of what this topic is with civilians.
Okay, so like to me, what he's saying there, because Tom DeLonge is deep on the Tom DeLonge is deep on Bluegill and Starfish Prime, right? Like he knows about this stuff. So let's try and connect some dots here. Tom DeLonge knows like the ins and outs. Well, maybe not like every detail, but he was briefed, by like, was it Neil McCasland? High level dude in Lockheed. Like he was briefed by like Air Force generals and shit like that, right? And he knows that Starfish Prime and Bluegill Triple Prime were extremely significant events in the UFO story. He knows that. And he's saying that like telling civilians and regular people the truth about the UFO problem is like having to tell someone, like a good friend, some really bad news. Like they've got cancer. And it's like no one really wants to be the guy to like deliver the news, and the can just keeps getting kicked down the road. So when we look at Dr. Villarroel's paper that in the 50s, they knew that there were thousands of these things in the sky. Patrick Jackson has posed a theory about a sphere network monitoring humanity. Bluegill Triple Prime knocked one of these things out of the sky. And maybe they learned something about what they recovered about it. And Tom DeLonge, who knows more than he can say, is saying the truth about this thing is going to be like telling civilians that you have like a terminal cancer. Maybe not terminal, because that implies we're all going to die. I don't necessarily think that's the case. But it's saying like the truth isn't like, ooh, spooky aliens are here. Like, ooh, they're going to come and help us. No, it doesn't sound like that at all. It actually sounds like it kind of sucks. So, let's just, put all those things together and think about what that means. Someone said video volume. I did see that, so just give me 2 seconds. I'll give you a little bit of gain. That should be a little bit better.
I think they really want us to know. I really do think they do. I really do at this point feel like it's going to be a tough thing to swallow for people, and I think there's elements about it that people are not ready for. And my whole life, I had that very kind of, and I think you and I have talked about this, where I've had that kind of egocentric version of why they won't tell us stuff. They think they're more important than me, or they don't think I can handle it, or they're hiding breakthroughs from me for money. All these things are just...
I think they probably are doing that, Tom, but I think what you're saying is potentially also true. I think both can be true.
Ego, and I have never been so wrong. As I get into this stuff and I'm starting to learn the architecture of why and how and what, it's just not that at all.
It may be the hardest thing to believe of all of it. You can believe in the others or aliens or something like that, but to believe that our government actually had a good reason for keeping this a secret is going to be tough for people to swallow.
People, one of the ways I got the advisors in the first place is that I was very driven to change the cynical view people had of government. Everyone in my generation and younger, they would think Ed Snowden is a hero. They would, these guys are graduating as young adults from MIT, but they don't want to work for the government. They want to work for Elon Musk. They want to work for Facebook.
So I think it's important to say as well, in case anyone missed it, this interview is from like 2016, maybe 2017. It's one of those two. It's a long time ago is what's important. We don't really know because Tom doesn't really interview the same way he did back then. I don't know if Tom's view of what happened with TTSA and that whole saga has changed over time as he's maybe gotten a broader perspective of the whole situation. But I do, and it pains me to say this because I've been a Blink-182 fan since I was 12 years old and started playing guitar because of Tom DeLonge. It pains me to say this, but it's hard to deny the fact that it seems like Tom DeLonge was used as a conduit to inject these CIA people into the disclosure sphere and allow them to steer the narrative. Now, that doesn't mean that everything Tom DeLonge was told and has said on podcasts is wrong, because I don't think that's true either. But as I said, it pains me to say I do think he was the perfect conduit for these, because he literally brought Hal Puthoff, Lou Elizondo, Jim Semivan, all CIA, and by extension, John Ramirez, who, you know, beats up reptilians when they wake him up. He brought all these people onto the scene inadvertently. And also, he kind of got kicked to the curb in that process too. Like, he kind of like brought these guys in, and then it was like, get out of the way, Tom, shut up. Stop doing interviews. You're saying too much. That's like literally what happened. So, you know, I would love to hear Tom's take on the situation off camera today. I think that would be really interesting.
The government's looked at as a big lying monster
Kinda
after
is.
its own reward. Once again, it's just not how it works. You know, I was told something early on that every general you meet will be very smart, very thoughtful, and very professional. That is absolutely true. Every general that I've met, and I've met a lot of them, especially dealing with this, very smart and very thoughtful and very professional. You know, I'm kind of going, well, you guys are portrayed in movies so different. It's just not the case. What I'm finding out is with national security or global security, that dictates everything. And then the law of how to deal with it does dictate everything. They're not outbreak on the law like everyone just assumes. What they don't do is communicate the task that they're doing. So therefore, we're left to our own devices to define their reasons and to define what they're doing. It's just like politics. You know, whoever defines the other person first wins. So
Tom wanted ancient aliens, and instead he got Khazarians. Yep, we all did. We all wanted greys and little green men from Mars, but instead we got Baal-worshipping vampires. Yep, that's the terrible truth.
There's this big kind of, the zeitgeist of what we think about our government is just like, okay, they're after money or power, or they're just criminally insane. It's just not the case. The UFO issue is a big, somewhat scary issue, and they're dealing with it, and they're dealing with it hard, and they're not thinking about stopping to make sure our neighbors understand. It's just they don't have time for that.
How do you guys feel about that quote? What he just said there? How do you guys feel about that? That they're like pursuing this UFO problem like relentlessly, and that they are really trying their best to figure this out. Let me know what you guys think. I'm just going to quickly read this out because I missed it. Bobcat with $10. Thank you, Bob. He says, truth is king. Follow it wherever it may lead, even if it breaks up your party. In my experience, searching for it often traced back to myself and the ways in which I can change. Love to us all. That's a great comment, Bob. I really like that, mate. Thank you for dropping that in. I think that's a really nice little thing to throw out there to the 870 people we have. Hopefully that didn't come across as sarcastic. I feel like it kind of sounded it. It absolutely was not. I even can't tell when I'm being sarcastic or not. But no, I genuinely think that's beautiful, man. I really do like that. I wanted to, God damn it. I wanted to say something to it and I forgot. My brain is just, I can't even keep up with my own brain. It's crazy, bro. Tom is lost, triple word score. That's because of the tech. Everyone wants the tech. The shirt made him look legit. Yeah, this is definitely Tom in his like serious era. Like if you're like me and you followed Blink-182 for like a long time, it was funny seeing Tom enter his like serious guy era where he kind of like combed his hair over and wore collared shirts. It's like, dude, 6 years ago, you were wearing like Atticus tees and like long dickies and like making dick jokes about like having sex with your bass player's mum on stage. That was like 6 years ago, bro. You're still that guy. I know you are. I know every word of all their songs. Me too, man. I'm definitely a fan. Atticus, I know, Kelly. How good. Those are the days. And the vegan Elliot Macbeths. Ooh. Now that is style, baby. Get me a pair of white vegan Elliot Macbeths, some black skinny jeans, and a tight Atticus tee. Oh, we're styling, baby. We are styling in true 2005 fashion. Yep.
Talk a little bit about the process. I mean, you don't just go, "Hi, I'm Tom, the rock star. Show me where the UFOs are." I mean, it took some steps and some finagling on your part to be sort of led in as far as you have.
Yeah, no, it took a lot of steps. I was very careful and very professional in my first approach to even get meetings with certain people. And when I did that, I was very respectful. I tried to be as eloquent as I could in describing something that was very ambitious. And I would always give just enough to get another meeting. And when I would get that second meeting, I would present something a step further. The thing that really got me going was, so we have 3 Secret Machines novels we're putting out that contain information that's real.
Yeah, this is going to rile the chat up. He's selling a book. Book salesman. Yep. I know they're coming.
I should also throw out that a lot of people will find some of this information that's already been out there, but nobody knows what's real or not. This is about defining truth. These are true things that I'm putting in here. So it's not that all of them have never been released, but you can go on and do all the research you want and find 10 different answers for what UFOs are. Well, I'm giving you the one that is the truth, So in any case, so to do that, we have the 3 novels, and then we have 3 nonfiction books that come out in between. And those
When did it become bad to write a book? This is what I'm saying. Again, I just think it's like, it is narrow-minded thinking that does kind of annoy me a little bit. It's like, so everyone who's written books is just like a liar? Does that mean every book is a lie? Like, if someone wants to tell a story, can they only tell it through like speech? And if they write it down, they're now a liar who only wants profit? Like, I get what you're getting at, but we also need to be like, okay, he might be telling the truth and he might actually just want to put it into a book too, which he will profit from. But also, Tom DeLonge probably doesn't need to sell books to survive. He's probably got like many multi-platinum records that probably help him live just fine.
Nonfiction books describe the overall, the overall phenomenology of what this is, the study of all of it. The prologue to the first book, the introduction, is kind of a mission statement, an abridged thesis on what the phenomenon is. So when I worked my way to meeting these guys and got far enough to have a second meeting, I would throw that on the desk and say, "Please read this, sir." and I would call them by their rank. I don't, they're always kind enough to say, "Oh, you can call me X or Y," just their first name. And no, I'll call you by your rank, and I'll be very respectful. And I'll give them that prologue, and that's when it started. So the first time I put that down, I thought I went too far. I thought I shouldn't have done that, because I know that this is national security. It's like, I tell people, it's like, imagine in World War II, you go and sit with somebody and you say, "Hey, about that nuclear weapon that you're building, hey, I want to talk to you about that." And they would say, like, "The president doesn't even know about that. Get the hell out of here." It would be a big deal. And that's kind of how this issue is. So I thought I went too far. So 2 weeks went by and I didn't hear anything. And I was like, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have just blatantly put out all this stuff about UFOs to somebody on the inside. Well, all of a sudden I get pinged to show up next to the Pentagon at a certain day, at a certain time. I was going to be meeting somebody that's very deeply involved in this stuff. And that was the beginning of the great adventure.
So what he's referring to there is, I believe, when he met with Neil McCasland. I can't remember who the other person was. It was He was like a high up Lockheed guy, which I think was Neil McCaslin, and a Air Force general. They could even be two in the same, to be honest, because like that's what's crazy, right? Is like when you look into this stuff, you realize that like a lot of the people in like high positions in Lockheed and other like, you know, Northrop, all these contractors are also like generals in the Air Force and like colonels and lieutenants and like, you know, they're all high up in the military and work for these companies. So it's like, it's just so complicated, bro. It's just so complicated. Non-human intelligence equal the Kardashians. I saw someone before saying the Khazarians equal the Kardashians. That would be the greatest cover of all time. Dude, imagine. Maybe that's why Kanye went crazy. He saw it. He got that firsthand. He saw what's going on in the Khazarian household. Keeping up with the Khazarians. Aliens and airwaves. Yep. Oh, someone said before, petition to re-record Buddha. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Kanye got probed. You know, I think Kanye's definitely tapped in. He's tapped into something. For sure. For sure. This is why the disclosure stuff interests me. At least there's just too many layers. The least there's just too many layers of bullshit. Yes, I mean that's why this topic is so interesting, right? To me, the reason why this topic is so interesting is because it's like, it's almost, okay, this is what it's like. This is what it's like a combination of. Do you guys remember those, well, it's kind of like this, those Goosebumps books where you pick, it's called like Choose Your Scare, and you kind of like work your way through the book yourself. It's kind of like that, but in a reality TV format where you're kind of like trying to dig through and work out which way to go. And then, and it's like a jigsaw puzzle. You're trying to figure it out. And then it also is real. So it's like, it affects real life. And that's why I think this topic is so interesting, because it's like, you're digging into like layers of this puzzle that are not just like, you know, it's not Love Island. It's a real thing with real people and militaries and governments that seem to be lying. And there's all this like obfuscation of truth, and just trying to solve it is very addicting. But maybe that's the trap. Maybe that's the trap. Maybe it's designed. You know, I often talk about how sport is like a good distraction. It taps into our tribalism. It keeps people kind of like, you know, this is my team. This is my identity. This is who I am. I will beat up other men for my football team to win the match. Yes, I'm an NPC. You know, and then you've obviously got people who like see entertainment the same way, the way they watch, you know, they binge watch like reality TV and shit like that. You know, maybe this is like another one for the people who like are a bit deeper. The people whose minds kind of like, you know, we like, think of it like fishing, okay? There's a fish hook, and there's like a base level hook or bait that catches most minds. You know, it's got like Hollywood, sport, kind of like basic shit on there. But then you've got these minds that are a little bit more clued in, a little bit more tapped in. And, you know, we don't like that bait. We can see that's bait, and we're not going to go for that. But so then they've got like higher level bait. Okay. You know, like the squid jag. It looks like a real fish. It looks like it's a real fish. This could be real. Trying to trick the stupid fish into thinking that this lure and hook is actually a real fish that they can eat and chew on. Maybe that's what this is. This is actually just another distraction that is disguised as being real for us to just feel like we're getting somewhere and solving, but actually it's all just bullshit. Could be. Tom NPS welcome back as another month of being a weirdo. Thank you, mate. I appreciate your continued support. But yeah, maybe that's what this is, because, you know, and this is the one thing that gets me. You guys know that I haven't seen shit. Okay, I'm criminally undereducated when it comes to movies and TV shows. I've seen some things, but I have the autism where I just watch the same thing that I like over and over. So I generally haven't seen anything, but I can quote most Harry Potter movies all the way through. Okay, that's just the way it is for me. So when I went back and watched The X-Files, and I haven't seen all of it, I've only seen a bit of the first season. When I went back and watched The X-Files and realized that, like, the stories and the things that we're hearing on there are literally almost exactly the same stories and, like, little clues and hints that we're getting, but it's not through a TV show. It's through these CIA people on podcasts. Because unlike the 80s, the 90s, when The X-Files came out, now podcasting is the modern media. If you want to feed a narrative into the people, you're not going to feed it into Netflix, because everyone knows that that's just a TV show. It's just a bit of fake woo-woo. And, you know, people obviously knew it was a TV show back in the 90s too, but that was like peak media, peak entertainment. The TV was like the most exciting thing in our lives, right? Well, now it's like the internet and podcasts and connecting with people. And because it feels authentic. But now we're kind of getting like the same narrative that was in the X-Files being delivered via podcasts from these people who used to be in the CIA. And to me, it feels like we're getting a rerun of the X-Files in 5D. That's what it feels like to me. I don't know what you guys think about that. Maybe that's a bit wacky, but that's where I'm at anyway. Guys, we're going to give Suki one last treat to say goodnight. But if you've enjoyed the stream, please like it before you leave. And if you could, my man Serp has just linked my clips channel there. So if you guys can't always make the live streams, or you don't want to sit through the whole 2.5 hours, which is totally understandable, that channel that Serp has just linked is my clips channel that I'm basically just uploading like highlights of streams or little, you know, clips and fun parts from the streams. So if you miss the streams, you're going to get little short, condensed 10 to 15 minute clips of them, of the best bits over there. So if you could go subscribe there and watch the content, that would be amazing. I would love you and appreciate you for it. And I think that's pretty much it. So let's give our girl one last snack if she's going to get up. Suki, come here. Come here. She didn't want to get up for that one. She's having dinner in bed. That's breakfast in bed right there. All right. Thank you all for coming, guys. It was a fun one. These are my favorite. I literally just want to chat shit with you guys for 2 hours. We don't even need clips. This is way more fun. Thank you for hanging out. I hope you had a good time. I had a great time. We'll probably be live again tomorrow, or a video. Something will be there. Get in Discord. Come hang out. Thank you all to all the new members. Be good. Be kind. Make sure you're touching grass. And I will see you guys very, very soon. Take care.
Eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on?
No matter how far you go into the dark, when you flip, you go exactly the same place to the light in our galaxy. Everything. Because everything is in balance. Everything is a polarity.
I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is.